It was November 9th, 1989, a cold, grey evening in Berlin. The wall, a 155-kilometre scar dividing east and west, stood as the iron symbol of decades-long tension. Guards patrolled its length with rigid discipline. Orders to shoot on sight, whispered in secret. Yet no one expected the wall itself to crumble without bullets. Inside East Germany's headquarters, the air was tense. Politicians debated reforms, unsure how much change was permissible. The public, meanwhile, gathered quietly in streets, murmuring rumors of easing travel restrictions. A nation held its breath. At 6:53 p.m., a press conference began. Gunter Schabowski, a mid-level East German official, read aloud a new set of regulations. They were meant to allow citizens to apply for exit visas, but with bureaucratic steps, not immediate freedom. Then, at 7:53 p.m., Schabowski glanced at a slip of paper, unprepared, and said words that would shatter the Iron Curtain. As far as I know, effective immediately, citizens are permitted to cross the border. The words leapt off the page and into history. Nobody anticipated the chaos this single sentence would unleash. Citizen perspective. In East Berlin, ordinary citizens heard the announcement via television and radio. At first, disbelief, then excitement, then action. People rushed to border checkpoints, carrying passports, luggage, cameras, children. For many, it was their first taste of freedom in decades. For some, it was a lifelong dream finally within reach. The guards, however, were confused. Orders had not been updated. Manuals said nothing about immediate crossing. They were trained for control, containment, and confrontation, not instant liberation. Guard perspective. At Bornholmer Straße, the largest checkpoint, guards hesitated. Lieutenant Christoph Schmidt remembers that night as surreal. I had no orders, no instructions, just a sea of people shouting and waving papers. My radio was dead. Everyone expected me to act, but I had no idea what to do. Time slowed. Every second felt like an eternity. If he had hesitated longer, if he had followed protocol to the letter, violence could have erupted. The checkpoint. By 9 p.m., thousands had gathered. People pushed against barriers, chanted, and pleaded. The guards, exhausted and fearful, consulted their officers, who were also bewildered by the press conference. Lieutenant Schmidt made a decision, a simple one: open the gates. He stepped aside. The barriers were lifted. Citizens surged forward, laughing, crying, and singing. For the first time in 28 years, East and West Berliners embraced freely, without fear. Minute by minute breakdown. 7:55 p.m. Citizens hear Schabowski's statement and begin gathering. 8:15 p.m. Initial lines form at Bornholmer Straße. Guards confused, unsure how to respond. 8:30 p.m. Checkpoints at Friedrichstraße and other crossings report rising crowds. 8:45 p.m. Calls for clarification from East Berlin authorities fail to reach checkpoints in time. 9 p.m. Gates are opened at Bornholmer Straße. 9:05 p.m. First waves of citizens cross into West Berlin. Guards let them through to avoid confrontation. 9:30 p.m. Other checkpoints follow. The wall, though physically intact, is psychologically broken. 10 p.m. Celebrations erupt. People climb the wall. Hammers, chisels, and bare hands begin tearing it down. Citizen emotions. The sudden freedom triggered a flood of emotions: disbelief, euphoria, relief, and collective joy. East Berliners had been trained to fear the West, yet now the streets were alive with laughter, music, and unbridled curiosity. People documented every moment. Cameras clicked. Children laughed, parents wept, strangers embraced. The psychological weight of decades of oppression evaporated in minutes. Guard psychology. For the guards, it was equally transformative. Many had grown up believing in the wall as an unbreakable symbol of duty. Now, that symbol had dissolved in a matter of hours. Their training, fear, and authority were rendered obsolete by a single, poorly phrased announcement. The Berlin Wall had fallen without a single shot fired, a testament to miscommunication, human decision-making, and the sheer force of public will. The East German government scrambled to understand what had happened. Politicians and officers tried to issue clarifications, but the momentum was unstoppable. Crowds poured through checkpoints across the city within days. Thousands more left East Germany freely. The wall, once a rigid barrier, became a symbol of how human error, courage, and curiosity can combine to reshape history. One official's unintended words opened the gates to a world previously forbidden. Reflection: the accidental fall of the Berlin Wall teaches that history is not always made by careful planning. Sometimes it is shaped by improvisation, confusion, and the courage to act in uncertainty. In just a few hours, decades of political tension evaporated, showing the power of human agency in the face of rigid systems.